Hey everybody, we've traveled a really long way to bring you a really cool fish story. It's one about walleyes and hybrid stripers and white bass and largemouth bass and several other species that swim all in one lake that you've probably never heard of. But we're about to fix that in the next half hour. Why? Because Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Hey everybody, I'm glad you're with us on this week's show as we roll into another lake that we've never visited in the history of Fox Sports Outdoors, and as a matter of fact, I've never been here personally either. Let's pan over this way and I will show you a look at Canton Lake. It's located about an hour and a half or 2 hours northwest of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This is about an 8,000 surface acre lake impounded on the North Canadian River, and it's a very interesting lake. Why? Because the Oklahoma Wildlife Department does a great job of maintaining a healthy population of walleye in this lake. Now, the walleye can be very finicky and difficult to catch at times. If I can catch one on this week's episode, I'll be really happy if we can just get one on camera to show you. But if not, we got lots of other species in the lake to back it up. Largemouth bass, white bass, hybrid stripers, crappie, catfish, lots of different species swim in this lake, and we'll give them all a shot in the next half hour. So I'm so glad you joined us. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And while we're out doing this on Canton Lake, we're taking you around your local area for your freshwater and saltwater reports from our expert team of insider reporters. We're going to get the Nitro Z19 launched into Canton Lake, get this thing started, and while we do that, let's get you started at the FSN studios with your weekend planner.
According to the Salooner tables, both days of the weekend will offer fair game fish activity. And if you like night fishing but don't enjoy staying up too late, you could be in luck with peak evening hours beginning at 9:22 on Saturday and 10:12 on Sunday. Expect the sun to rise at 6:25 and set at 8:23. In evenings, will feature a crescent moon that is 33% visible. We'll be right back with all of the current fishing reports from around the area. And I'll return with a question about baitcast reels on this week's Ask the Pro feature. Back in a bit.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than a boat, it's a tracker. Mercury Marine, go boldly. Aransas Electronics, celebrating 60 years of fish finding excellence. Find, navigate, dominate. And Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there.
Got it. Got him, all right. Got it. Got him, all right. What beautiful water to catch a fish in right there. Come up here, buddy. He's not a monster, but he's a bass. All right, there's my first Canton Lake bass right there. Welcome back, everybody. We're on the show in northwest Oklahoma today, and we've made it out trying to make something out of nothing. Came walleye fishing, and there is a nice chunky little bass for you right there. We're going to put that one back. I actually got that one to hit a Gene LaRue rattling crawler, and all I'm doing is I'm throwing it out there along the edges of those bushes and just putting my rod tip down and swimming it along. I'm not fishing it like a plastic worm in the traditional Texas rigged way. I've got it Texposed. Got him right there. Golly, that one came right out of that bush. Man, we got something working. That's a little bitty dude. But I'm not fishing it the regular Texas rigged way where I'm hopping it along the bottom. I am swimming this bait. That's a little trick that some Louisiana boys showed me up at Lake D'Arbonne. All right, we've got something working. I'll explain lots more about it as we go forward. But right now, let's get you fishing and lake reports from your local area.
Hey Fred, this is Old Cajun Phil. I tell you what, I just been going over my tablet here. Crazy. Right now, the perch jerkers of Louisiana ought to be happy. They ought to be jubilant. No matter where I look at, Caddo, D'Arbonne, Toledo, Chico Lake, all the lakes that I've talked to this week, they're tearing up the bluegill, the chickapin, the goggle eye. Matter of fact, just plain old perch fishing is great right now. Keep in mind one thing, friends, that by all these reports, it seems like if you're going after the red-breasted bluegill, that they prefer crickets. Over on Lake Verret, I tell you what, the story there seems to be a lot of vegetation right now on Lake Verret. And I tell you what, the people going on Lake Verret, they're going along the grass lines throwing spinner baits and buzz baits. Buzz baits early in the morning been working really great. So right now, friends, seems like bass fish is good, and bluegill and chickapin, goggle eye, the whole world is just eat up with the brim right now. I'll tell you what, if you're not catching any, you're not fishing in the right spot. Call old Cajun Phil, I'll tell you where to go and what to do. I tell you what, as far as the saltwater scene goes, I'm sitting here at the lodge right now kind of waiting on the anglers to come in. Talked to several of them this morning. Captain Kevin said almost every boat has a limit of redfish right now. One of the boats got 40 trout. So friends, fishing is just going to get better and better here in Louisiana. Happy fishing, may God bless, and we're going to see you folks next week.
Good fish. Good for here. Oh. Hey, there we go. Hey, that's a little bit better fish right there. That's got a little bit of a belly on it right there. And eating some shad. All right. Here's a real principle, is that when you get into a place like this, that's got this much cover, and it's all the same, how do you find the fish? We mentioned that early on. Well, here's what you do. You find something different than everything else. It can be anything, beginning with bottom. It can be a different bottom, a little bit of a drop off, a little bit of a rise in the bottom. It can be a transition. Well, here's a classic one right here. We've got reeds to grass. You've got to find something different than everything else. The bass will find that, I can promise you. They'll locate something different. They've done experiments where they take a swimming pool that's just smooth all over the bottom, and they paint black dots on the bottom, and the bass go sit on those dots. The bass is a sucker to find some kind of cover or something different in the structure that's different than everything else around that. You get into an area like this where there's this much stuff, you find the one thing that's different, you're almost guaranteed you're around bass. That's something. Oh, it's a walleye, and it's a good one too. There's a bite. Got him. Got something. Oh, it's a walleye, and it's a good one too. Okay, I got the net. Good walleye, look at this. Look at this. Got him. Yeah! All right. I caught one of these bad boys. I have done it. Didn't think I was going to get to do it. And I caught one of them. Look at that. We caught us a walleye. That's what you come to Canton Lake to do. Oh man, that has been a long time coming right there. It has been a rough go. But I caught a good walleye. You can see them fishing the dam. And got out here fairly early and tried to do this, and the wind was just blowing way too hard. I couldn't even stay out here. But the sun's breaking out, the wind's calming just a little bit, and I caught a good walleye for you. Isn't that a gorgeous fish right there? We're gonna put that one in the live well. That dude's gonna cook up good. They built the dam at Canton Lake in such a cool way. They built 3 of these turnouts where you can pull off the dam. You can drive up there and you can fish for these walleye. You don't even have to have a boat. These fish live out here in fairly deep water off these rocks a lot of the year. And then during the summertime, they'll go even deeper out on some deep ridges. They can be a very difficult fish to catch. But hey, we got one of them anyway. Victory. Fished all day yesterday, didn't catch a walleye. Came out here and caught one. I'm going to celebrate, and you get to go check out some fishing reports from your local area.
Hi folks, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you once again by Ulrich Cabins. Family owned, Texas based, Ulrich Cabins stands ready to build the dream cabin of your design, whether it's a hunting lodge on your ranch or a fishing cabin down by the lake. Be sure and check out mytexascabin.com for our Lone Star Lakes viewer-only discounts now. This week we're going to talk a little bit about Possum Kingdom. You may remember when I did the full episode on Lake Whitney, I talked about the golden algae fish kill and the droughts that had affected the lake and how it had rebounded in a great way. Well, PK, the story is still the same. It also suffered from the fish kills and the droughts, but is now fishing better than it has in many, many years. Stripers and sand bass are especially plentiful on this lake. Now for your stripers, a lot of the guides are getting up very early in the morning and throwing a cast net for live bait. And while that's certainly effective, you can also use your 1-ounce jigging spoons in about 15 to 20 feet of water, or a lead head jig with a striper sniper attached to it in a lime chartreuse color. Over at Bridgeport, we've got good catfishing right now. You'll find them in the mouths of the creeks about 15 to 20 feet as well, and you'll use either your cut shad or your prepared catfish baits. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you once again by Ulrich Cabins, mytexascabin.com. Check them out now. We're going to check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Well, the upper coast continues to have lighter winds than the rest of the coast. However, those winds still challenge anglers who escape to marsh and protected areas of the intercoastal to fish. In behind Matagorda Peninsula and Galveston Island also affords protection, while Keith Lake on Sabine Lake is another protected area. Christmas, Bastrop, and Chocolate Bays, Coal Pass, and the marshes out of Freeport has given up some good trout and redfish even on windy days. Now from Paul's Mott to Mud Island, anglers fishing behind St. Joe Island have had good results. So have those fishing East Flats and Packery Flats behind Mustang Island. The King Ranch shoreline, Badlands, Rocky Slough, and the Land Cut have offered options and protection while giving up some good fish. Community Bar, the mouth of the Arroyo, Three Islands, north of the Convention Center, and Long Bar are reliable options for those fishing from Port Mansfield to Port Isabel. This weekend, Saturday's a three-tide day with 2 low tides and just 1 high. This Sunday has a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Lew's, fueled by passion, driven by innovation. Feel the difference. Jean LaRue Bass Baits and Bobby Garland Crappie Baits, the leaders in soft plastic lures innovation. And Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
Look at the size of that white, will you? That is not a hybrid striper. That's a regular white bass, and it is huge. Got him, there we go. Swimming at the boat, then he's gonna fight like crazy when he gets up here. And under he goes. Oh, that's a decent hybrid. All right. There we go. There's you a good hybrid striper right there. You can see the broken lines on his side, and no monster, but just a little fatty. Right there, back he goes. Well, everything's changed. The winds calmed down, the sun's come out, everything's died back, and we're in an area with a whole bunch of boats here, and I wanted to go see if we could catch a hybrid striper, and there is one. Most of these people, they're in about 10, 12 feet of water, something like that. Most of them trolling like crankbaits and lipless rattle baits and those kinds of things, but I just picked up a spoon and started cranking it up off the bottom, and a pretty nice hybrid bit it. And I want to tell you, they've got giant white bass in here. I don't mean hybrids, I mean huge white bass. I caught a couple of them yesterday, so I hope to catch you one of these big white bass before it's over with. Let's get you some fishing and lake reports from where you live right now.
Hey, look at the power of the water being released from Tin Killer Dam. This was when the lake was at its highest several days ago, and of course they're trying to get those lake levels down at many places across the state, especially here in northeastern Oklahoma. So be sure and check those lake levels before you go. And speaking of power, that's what Chuck Justice is. He's a power fisherman, catches lots of big fish at McGee Creek and Sardis Lakes here in Oklahoma. He's at it again. You'll see here several nice bass he's caught recently at McGee Creek, and what he's doing is taking the brand new LaRue Bass Shooter lure and he's rigging it a little bit differently than what that bait was designed for, but man, the results are coming through big time. He's taking this bait and rigging it on a 2/0 wide gap hook, making it totally weedless, and then he's putting a small split shot right on the belly of the hook. What that is allowing him to do is still have a real slow presentation in that flooded buckbrush, some of the flooded areas of vegetation where those big bass are hiding right smack dab in the middle of it. He's putting that bait in there. His best color has been this green sunfish color, and he's caught several 5, 6, 7, 8 pound fish doing that just in the recent days at McGee Creek. He says that lake is up about 2 feet from what it has been. Of course, it's still 5 or 6 feet low. But the fact it is up does have water in areas of vegetation that has grown up over the past several months. Chuck, appreciate the report from McGee Creek. You can catch them at McGee Creek, you can catch them at Sardis, but you can't catch them if you don't go.
Trolling along here with my trolling motor and letting the wind pull me along a little bit. Pulling a little crankbait. There's one, got him. Boy, that didn't take very long. We've had the sun come out, the wind's died down. Yeah, that's a good, either a white or a hybrid one. That's a big white bass. Wow. Look at the size of that white, will you? That is not a hybrid striper. That's a regular white bass, and it is huge. Little crankbait and a big old white. Man, look at that. So there's you another Canton Lake species right there. Trolling along with my trolling motor and little crankbait, just trying to cover some water and locate where the schools are, which is a great way to locate them, and then turn around and you can work them over with a lipless rattle bait or a spoon or something like that. But I told you that Canton Lake has got some huge white bass in it, and that is a big one. I don't care who you are or where you live, he's going back. So really, this is just a really good place. If one species is not biting, then you can try another species. And hybrid stripers, white bass, largemouth bass, walleye. And by the way, I haven't really mentioned a lot about the Canton Walleye Rodeo, but I think it happens in May every year. But they actually have a website that you can go to that has all the information, but it's a 4-day festival that goes on here in Canton with lots of stuff to do. Bring the whole family. They've got a walleye tournament, and it's just a lot of activity going on around here for those 4 days. But look it up at the website you see on your screen. They've got all the information about the annual Canton Walleye Rodeo. But those 4 species, and then we haven't even talked about the crappie yet, but there's a great population of crappie in here as well, and the locals do really well on them. All right, stay with us. We're coming back to wrap it all up for you from Canton Lake in northwest Oklahoma right after this.
Be sure to join Fox Sports Outdoors again next week, Thursday night at 10:30, or catch the repeat airing Saturday morning at 8. And you can always watch the latest episode in full HD on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Plus, catch up on all past episodes by clicking the archive button. And see lots of our how-to and product videos by selecting the how-to button. Join our online fishing community. Just click the like button on our Facebook page for access to daily posts with lots of fishing news, videos, and frequent giveaways. And stay up to date with all the latest fishing information and photos by following our Twitter feed. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Motor Guide Trolling Motors. Motor Guide, because accuracy matters. And Excite Technologies, powering the world forward.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro question. This week, Craig asks, I'm about to purchase my first bait cast reel. What features are the most important? We asked 4-time Bassmaster Classic qualifier O.T. Fierce for the answer.
Your first bait cast reel should be a quality reel, somewhere in the $100 range, give or take. It should have a good magnetic control, 3 or 4 ball bearings, and a good spool tension knob adjustment.
Thank you, OT. If you have a question for one of the anglers, visit our website, follow the Ask the Pro link on the right side of the page, and send it in. Now one lucky viewer wins a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
Every week, it's my pleasure to get to give someone a brand new pair of the world's greatest Costa sunglasses, just like the ones I wear on every episode of our show. Here's this week's winner. He is Clyde Nicholas of Friendswood, Texas, showing a 30 and a 26-inch redfish he caught at Calcasieu Lake in Louisiana. And here's a bonus, some other fish from Calcasieu. These were not winners, but great fish nonetheless. Janet Weiss with a nice redfish, Vicky Buck with a 20-pound redfish, and Matthew Laborde with a 25-inch speckled trout. If you'd like a chance to be our next winner, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click on the Costa Catch of the Week area on the right side of the homepage, and follow the instructions to send us your photo. You could be our next winner. And you can see all of the Costa frame and lens styles by going back to our homepage. Click on the Costa logo. It's there. You'll see all of the great Costa lens styles, including the brand new Sunrise Silver Mirror lens. You'll be hearing much more about that. And all the great frame styles, including the frame style that I was wearing on this week's episode. This frame is called Motu in the camo pattern. Next up on our gear segment, here are some of the baits that you need to have on board if you want to do some of the styles of fishing that we did on this week's episode. Beginning on your far left, that's a regular half-ounce jigging spoon in a chrome color. Next to the right is a bigger striper spoon in a 5-inch size. Next to that is a big lipless rattling crankbait in a real flashy color, about a 3/4 ounce size. Under that, a small deep diving crankbait. It needs to dive 8 to 10 feet deep if you'd like to troll for some of these hybrids or white bass. Next, if you want to catch largemouth bass here, we caught every one of those on the Jean LaRue Rattling Crawler. It's got a glass bead up inside of it for a lot of extra rattle. And then for the walleye, you want a lead jig head, and you want to tip that with any of several curl tail grubs. My favorite is the Jean LaRue Rally Grub in some of the colors you see there. Secrets. They're a great thing at Christmas time and a wonderful thing for a surprise birthday party, but a terrible thing in a marriage. Lots of people stay married for a very long time, dragging behind them a lot of dark secrets from their past. The problem with those secrets is that they lurk just under the surface, and they tend to rear their ugly head at just the wrong time. They cause a lot of damage. Want to have a great marriage? Find the appropriate time and place to bring all of those secrets to the surface and deal with them truthfully and in the right way. And it could take the help of a trained counselor, but that's okay. Why? Because when you're done, not only will you have a much better and healthier marriage, but you'll sleep a lot better at night too. Thanks very much for joining us today on my first trip here to Canton Lake in northwest Oklahoma. We had a fun day on the water, and I think you would too. We will see you next week right here on the show. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.